Hi guys, Bran here. Welcome to another commentary video. Yes, I'm recording on the same day as I was yesterday because it's been a busy week. Okay, listen, this is the same face. It doesn't change that much anyway. Okay, you wanted me to do something crazy? Watch. Oh, it's blue now. There you go. It's blue. Crazy. Anyways. I wanted to talk about today about HYPERFOCUS, because HYPERFOCUS has been kind of like a hot button topic for the DBD community, which is the new perk that came out with Rebecca with good old Project W. HYPERFOCUS, if you don't know, is that if you hit a great skill check, it adds a stack to the perk, and for each great skill check you hit, its value is more. So essentially you get more progress on whatever bar you happen to be working on, whether it be healing, generators, etc. Every time you hit a great skill check, you get more bang for your buck. It actually goes farther. However, if you miss once and hit a good skill check, all your stacks go away and you have to start back from scratch, which is, in my opinion, a very, very well-designed perk. Very fantastically designed perks. I think rewarding people for hitting great skill checks feels good. You're literally taking a gameplay thing that is not too hard to do, but kind of hard to do, and rewarding people for their ability to do it. It feels good to be rewarded for something that is sort of hard to do. It is a good perk fundamentally built from the top to the bottom. Now, saying that, there's already somebody commenting down in the comments, HYPERFOCUS is so broken and terrible and stupid. How could you say that? Because for some reason, people don't watch the whole video. They hear me just say one thing. Don't wait and already start typing. Don't do that on anybody's video. That is silly. Please stop doing that. That is a bad habit. The problem with HYPERFOCUS comes with its synergy with other things. This obviously being both stakeout and toolboxes, and honestly, mostly the toolboxes. So, by the definition of the perk that I just provided, if you miss the great skill check and you get a good, you lose all your stacks and you have to start back from scratch. However, if you run stakeout with this perk, you no longer have to hit the great skill checks, because even if you miss, as long as you have stacks of stakeout available, it doesn't matter if you miss, because if you don't know what stakeout does, stakeout for a certain amount of time that you are inside of the killer's territory, you get stacks. And those stacks are consumed every time you miss a great skill check. And that good skill check gets converted automatically into a great skill check at the cost of a stack. So essentially, getting rid of the only thing that really balances HYPERFOCUS from being strong. Essentially, you run stakeout with HYPERFOCUS to just completely eliminate the hard aspect to it, the balance aspect to it. Now, one little tidbit that I did not include about HYPERFOCUS when I initially said it was that it also increases your chances to get skill checks, which is something that they actually took the time to remove from other perks in the game like Spine Shield. So this is kind of one of the only ways to get more skill checks unless you're running a toolbox with it, because toolboxes naturally increase your chance to get skill checks while using one. So not only are you getting progress on the gen, which is the main purpose of running a toolbox, but you're also getting skill checks more often, and ergo getting quicker stacks of HYPERFOCUS, and therefore getting more progress on the gen on top of that. And even if you miss, even if you start missing those faster skill checks, when it starts getting to 4, 5, 6 stacks, good thing you brought stakeout. So even if you miss, you keep the stacks going. Do you see where the problem is? Essentially, these three things kind of make a perfect storm where a perk that is on the surface literally designed in such a efficient and well-balanced manner suddenly becomes a nightmare, because its synergy with other perks makes it incredibly strong. Which, to be honest, now that I think about it, that's kind of like how most perks work in this game. Like, if somebody just brought Overcharge by itself, like, I don't think anybody would care, right? But if they brought but they always bring like Overcharge, Eruption, Call of Brine, and then people are upset. That's kind of how perk and balance in this game works now that I think about it. Maybe this isn't too different. Anyways, so HYPERFOCUS. How do we fix it? How do we make it better? Step one. What I would do is I would give HYPERFOCUS the same properties that Autodidact has. Autodidact, if you don't know what that does, is it's a healing perk that at first, your healing skill checks actually regress the bar. But for each skill check that you hit, it progressively gets faster to the point where you can insta-heal people. That sounds really strong. So to limit that, to make that more fair, what they did is make it not synergize with medkits by making it quite literally impossible to run the perk alongside a medkit. If you have a medkit in your hand while using Autodidact, it just doesn't go off. Which is a smart play, because being able to heal people instantly and also having a medkit is like, that's too much. It's too much together. So they made it to where that perk didn't work if you had the medkit in your hand. I think an easy fix, at least a good step one to get started with this, was to make it to where HYPERFOCUS does not function while having a toolbox in your hands. That would easily fix the double synergy that it has with toolboxes and make the perk more healthy to face. I think from there, you would be able to truly sit there and analyze what's going on between the stakeout and the hyperfocus interaction, because there's been plenty of times that I've played, I run stakeout by itself, I'm like a weirdo, but there's plenty of times I'll be facing like a Sadako, a Myers, a Wraith, and I just like don't get stakeout stacks, right? So, or I'll be facing Wesker and I just have stacks the whole game. So it's kind of like weird. It's kind of like based on the killers that you get. So it's not actually a very like concrete thing. So I'd want to see how stakeout and hyperfocus interact on their own after we implement like the autodidact kind of fix and see if that fixes the problem. And if it doesn't, we would have to look further into the interaction between stakeout and hyperfocus. But for now, that is probably my way I would initially start tackling the situation with hyperfocus having so much synergy, is by giving it the autodidact property, which would be that it doesn't work when you have a toolbox in your hand. Yeah, what would be your way of fixing hyperfocus? Or do you think hyperfocus is fine? Let me know down in the comments below. But that's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you so much. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, but if I do not, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.